Okay, so I'm going to talk you through now what you're going to need to pack for an Everest Base Camp Trek. Now, this is just the standard Everest Base Camp Trek, 12-day trek, the standard route, and we're going to go through. Attached to this video will be a copy of our kit list. This has everything that you need to consider packing into your bag. Some of the stuff on the kit list is essential, some of it is recommended. Now, the thing to consider for an Everest Base Camp Trek is that you do have a weight limit for the flight to get you to Lukla. So between your day pack and your duffel bag, you have a 15 kilo limit. So that's really what's going to decide what's going in your bag. And some people really do kind of struggle to get under the weight limit for that. Now, obviously some of the kit that I've got here is super lightweight. So that's how I managed to really get underneath the limit that we need to have. Sometimes sleeping bags can weigh anything up to like 2.5 kilos. Mine comes in at 600 grams. So you can see automatically how I'm saving weight on my kit list. And that also means that I can add a few extra luxuries in when I'm on the trek itself. So to go through the kit list, you are going to need a duffel bag. We recommend normally a 90-litre duffel bag for Everest Base Camp, which is, from a North Face perspective, is their large duffel bag. Because my kit is quite compact and lightweight, I can get away with the smaller 70-litre medium size for this one. So we're going to need to have our duffel bag. We're also going to need to have our day pack, which is going to go with us on the trek. This is what we're going to be carrying. This is what the porters are going to be carrying. So 25 litres is big enough for the trek. I always take a 40-litre just because I've got my camera and I've got a few other things that I need to take with me on the trek as well. So mine is slightly bigger and I don't want to be ramming it in. If I want to find something, I want to find it quickly. So sometimes having a slightly bigger bag and not overpacking it is sometimes a little bit easier. What else do we need? So first of all, we are going to need our sleeping bag. You are going to be sleeping in tea houses. There are blankets on the beds in tea houses. I wouldn't recommend just sleeping using the blankets because they don't wash them that regularly. But with a sleeping bag, you can put it over you if you get a bit cold. So don't think that you need a really massive sleeping bag. A 3-season sleeping bag is generally warm enough for an Everest Base Camp Trek. So just, think about that and think about the size of what they are and the weight of them. Because like I said, some of them can be up to like 2.5 kilos for a sleeping bag. So this is the first thing that's going to go in the bag. The next thing you're going to need is a pair of walking boots. Now, when we think about the weight limit for an Everest Base Camp Trek, they don't weigh you as the person. So the trick is you're going to wear all of your heavier clothes, your boots, etc. onto the flight. So things like your battery packs, they're going to go in your pocket. You're going to put your heavy boots on, your heavy coat on. So make sure anything that's really heavy is on you. So for an Everest Base Camp Trek only, I'm going to use these boots, which are kind of an approach shoe, but just slight with an ankle support on them. I really like these because at the end of the day, I don't feel like I've been walking in a pair of walking boots all day. So this is why I use these ones for an Everest Base Camp. They don't need to go in the bag because I'm going to wear them on the flight. So I don't need to worry about packing those into the bag. Next is going to be my clothes. Now, for me, I know that I can take plenty of clothes and keep within my weight limit. So for example, I'm going to have enough spare tops so I can have a clean top every day. I'm going to take a thin pair of trousers and I'm going to take a thick pair of trousers. I'm going to take short sleeve t-shirts and I'm going to take some longer sleeve ones for up the top. So I've got my thick pair of trousers here, thick walking trousers. So I'll take 2 pairs of shorts, a thin pair of trekking trousers and a thicker pair of trekking trousers. But again, these are going to be the ones that I'm going to wear on the plane, so I don't need them. I also pack everything into packing cubes as well, and this just means that I know where everything is in my bag, and I can find it really easily, and it also compresses everything as well, so it doesn't take up so much space in my bag. So in here, 2 pairs of shorts, my spare pair of trekking trousers, and I've probably got about 9 tops in there as well, so I can almost have a clean one every day. Into the bag they go. Next on the list is underwear. In this one, I've got socks of varying different thicknesses. Obviously, I've got thick pairs for when we get to the top to get near base camp, and then I've got thinner pairs for at the bottom, because it is quite warm. I have worn shorts pretty much all the way up to the last stop before base camp before. So you don't want to be wearing overly thick socks on the lower stages, because your feet are just going to sweat. So I've got enough pants and I've got enough socks for a clean pair every day. And again, if you are struggling with weight, that might be something that you're going to need to reduce on. But for me, I don't need to really worry about that at that point. Waterproofs. I have my waterproof jacket and I have my waterproof trousers. My waterproof jacket, you need to make sure it can go over your warm insulated layer. So whether that's your down jacket or your synthetic jacket, you want to make sure that your waterproof can go over the top of those, because it forms part of your layering system. So they're going to go into the bag as well. I've then got my insulated jacket. I don't take an overly thick one to Everest Base Camp. I don't find that I get that cold. Some people might need a thicker one than this, but with a good layering system, so a base layer, a fleece layer, my synthetic jacket and my waterproof on top, that's warm enough for me when I'm on a base camp trek. So again, I'm not going to be wearing this one. I'm not going to put this one in the bag, because I'm going to be wearing it on the flight to keep the weight in the bag down. What else do I need? So I've got some buffs. These are super handy on the Everest Base Camp Trek. It gets so dusty. Everyone really, a lot of people, it's called the kumbu cough. And because of the dust, all the yaks walking past you, by the time you get up to the top or coming back down again, you'll find that you'll start coughing, and it's called the kumbu cough. We recommend everybody, when they're walking during the day, that they're actually covering up when it gets really dusty, to stop taking that in. Also protects the sun on the back of your neck. Obviously, as you're getting higher to altitude, the sun is stronger, so you really do need to think about that. I've got a thin pair of gloves. I've got my thick, warm mitt gloves, and I've got a hat, and I've also got my set of thermals in there. So I've got, if it does get too cold, I've got a thermal top and my thermal leggings, generally for the day we go up either to Kalapatar or we go to Everest Base Camp. But again, for the past few years, I haven't needed to actually put my thermals on, because it has been quite mild up there. But that all goes in there. And again, we can just compress it with the packing cubes. Just makes it so much easier to find stuff when you're getting into tea houses at the end of the night. Towel, you can have a shower on Everest Base Camp. Most of the tea houses, as you get further up, charge you for a shower. But generally, you can have a shower every day. People say you don't shower for 12 days, but you really can have a shower in. A pack-like towel like this will dry really quickly. The other thing to think about the tea houses is it's very difficult to wash and dry clothes. We can wash them, it's just very difficult to dry them because of the temperatures up there. So make sure you're not going to take 2 pairs of socks and actually think you're going to wash them and they're going to be dry for the next day, because that probably isn't going to happen. I do take my inflatable pillow with me. It's lightweight, it's just one piece of comfort that I like to have. Other comforts that I like are my booties. When you're in a tea house, you can't wear your boots. It gets cold in the tea house in the evenings, so these down booties are like my little luxury that I take with me on every trip. And they are just super comfortable and warm when you're wandering around the tea house in the evening. They don't weigh a lot either. I've got my wash bag. Now, you don't need to carry very much in your wash bag when you're on the trek. You need to brush your teeth, and you might need, you might have a couple of showers while you're up there. So you haven't got to take your whole makeup bag with you. You're not there for that purpose. And this is one real way of keeping your weight down. I know some of our guides even cut the end off their toothbrush to try and save a little bit on weight, but I don't go to that extreme. So that can go in. You also need to have your head torch, ideally with spare batteries, unless you can charge it while you're away. I'll take a battery pack with me and I can charge my battery if I need to. You don't really, to be honest, use your head torch very much on an Everest Base Camp trek. You're not walking overnight, so you don't need it for long periods of time. So either have a couple of spare batteries, or if you can recharge it, have a way of recharging it as well. So that one can go in. Fluids, you've got various options on Everest Base Camp. You can buy bottled water, but bottled water gets more expensive, and we are obviously trying to stop the single-use plastic. That is a big problem in the area. So either take purification tablets, and you could use something like a Nalgene bottle, or we now start to use the water to go bottles that have a filter in there, and you can clear 99.9% and make the water drinkable wherever you are. So I will just take with me a water to go bottle, and on the Everest Base Camp Trek, you can fill it up wherever you like. There's plenty of places to stop, and you can even fill it up from a puddle or a river if you wanted to. So that's what I take now, and I've got a bigger one of these that I actually take on the trek, and I only take one with me. Some people like to use the hydration packs that they put in their bags. I personally don't like these, purely because I don't really know how much I've been drinking during the day. So with one of these, the number of times I've seen people, they come in at night and say, oh, I've got a headache, I've got altitude sickness, and you're like, you sure you're not dehydrated? No, I've drank plenty today. Let's have a look at your hydration pack, and they pull it out and it's still half full. They think they've been drinking all day long, but they actually haven't. So for me, the only thing that I will take nowadays is a water to go bottle, and these two can stay behind. Final bits and pieces, I have my rucksack liner. I like to put this inside my rucksack and then put everything in my day pack inside this to make sure everything stays dry. Obviously a lot of rucksacks now come with the covers that are in the bottom, and you pull them over the top if it starts raining. But for me, the water still gets down the back and can still get into the rucksack. So I'd much rather put that in my bag and seal it to make sure that everything is super dry. So that was going to go in my rucksack. I'll need a peak hat for when I'm walking, but again, that's not going to go in my bag because that's going to wear with me on the plane. Not that it weighs that much. First aid kit, super important with your first aid kit. Make sure you've got everything you're going to need for the trip: compedes, plasters, etc., etc. Paracetamol, ibuprofen, any of your personal medication that you need is going to have to travel with you. Sunglasses. Make sure you've got a good pair of Cat 4 sunglasses, because again, when you get to altitude, the sun is super, super bright. So make sure you've got something that wraps around, covers all your eyes, and protects your eyes from that. I always take one of these with me. This is just a little duffel bag, an X-Bed duffel bag. Makes the perfect dirty washing bag that you can then decant all your dirty washing into this and seal it up. The last thing you want is your bag smelling of your dirty washing after a 12-day trek. One tip for these is, if you get the bits of paper that you put in your tumble dryer to freshen up your washing and just put a couple in this bag, it actually makes your bag smell nicer than it did before. So that's just one quick tip from me there. That can go in there. And then I've got my power pack, which again, like I said earlier, is going to go into my bag. In this bag here is my layering system. So I've got my fleece layers to go on top of my base layers to keep me warm. I've got two in here to form my layer. I've got a down gilet, and I've got my, it's a Patagonia RX fleece, which is lovely and warm. But again, I'm going to wear all of that on the aeroplane and then decant it later on into my bag. So that's going to go there. So that's pretty much now my bag packed for an Everest Base Camp Trek. And like you say, I can get it into a medium-sized duffel, which is very kind for the porters who are going to be carrying it for you. And I did bring along a set of scales just to see what the weight of this one actually came in at, to give you a bit of a guide of what that lot's going to weigh. So I've got that in at 9.5 kilos, including the bag. So obviously I've still got to include what's going into my rucksack, but that's not going to be weighing 5 kilos. So I'm well underweight there. So I have got extra to put a few more luxuries in if I wanted to. And things that I might put in as an extra are things like a pair of jogging bottoms for when you're in the tea house in the evening. Like things like that like snack wise on Everest Base Camp, you can buy everything whilst you're on the trail. So you don't really want to be filling your bag up with like additional snacks and stuff from the UK, because all of that stuff, although it does get a little bit expensive as you go up, you can buy it in Namche or in Lukla right at the start of your trek. So don't think about cramming in. I mean, if you've got the spare weight, great, you can put extra bags of Haribo in, but you don't necessarily need to get that, because you can buy that on the trail as you go. Like I said, underneath this video, there is a downloadable copy of our kit list with everything in there. It's entirely up to you, obviously, if you want any of the recommended to pack. I've pretty much just packed the essentials. This would do me for an Everest Base Camp, and I would still have clothes left at the end probably to wear. So I'm not going over and above that. So if you've got any questions, please contact the office and we're more than happy to help. But that's how you pack your duffel bag for Everest Base Camp. Thanks very much.